Welcome to Culture Over Coffee, a podcast focused on improving company culture and fostering employee engagement. Every week, we chat with experts and thought leaders about the latest proven practices to reduce regrettable turnover, increase productivity, and retain key customers. So pour a cup of your favorite brew and join us. I'm your host, Beth Sunshine, SVP at Up Your Culture. In today's Culture Snapshot, we're digging into something that's easy to overlook, but has a major impact on performance and engagement: feedback. Specifically, how often it's really happening and what that means for your team. To walk us through it, I'm handing things over to Kate Rehling. Kate, over to you.
How did you react the last time someone asked you, "Can I give you a piece of feedback?" Did you shudder, maybe cringe a little? I know that's what I tend to do, and that's because most people don't associate feedback with something positive. We've been conditioned to only hear it when something's wrong, so we tend to really brace for it. But here's the reality: feedback shouldn't just be about correcting what's wrong. Many people think of feedback as a management tool, but it's really a development engine. Effective feedback is how people learn what to keep doing. It's how they build confidence, and ultimately, it's how they get better. And without it, people aren't developing, they're just guessing. Most leaders don't think they have a feedback problem because feedback's technically happening. But when we look at the data, something doesn't quite add up. 1 in every 4 employees only receives feedback once per year, and only 37% receive meaningful feedback weekly. This leads to 40% of people reporting they don't receive enough meaningful feedback, which means a huge portion of the workforce is operating without consistent guidance, reinforcement, or course correction. That's a feedback breakdown. So, what's really going on here? The root cause involves 2 things. First, a really big part of it is how we think about feedback overall. The most meaningful feedback is feedback that reinforces the specific behaviors that led to someone's success. Feedback is way too often a reflex when something isn't going right, and phrases like "don't do that again" or "that wasn't good, stop that," they're pretty prevalent. It's used as an error reduction tool. But in reality, feedback should be used to drive growth. It should reinforce what's working, it should build confidence, and if it does, it's going to boost performance over time. Feedback should primarily focus on the positive behaviors you want someone to repeat. On average, people need to hear at least 5 pieces of positive feedback for every 1 piece of feedback that's more difficult to hear. Positive feedback creates a safe space so that when you do have to provide that piece of feedback that might be more difficult to hear, the person knows you're really invested in their development and you truly have their best interests at heart. The second mistake leaders make when it comes to feedback is it's often treated as an event, not a habit. It only shows up in annual reviews or in those moments when things go wrong. When feedback is inconsistent, people are left to figure things out on their own, and they don't always know what they're doing well, and they don't always know what needs to change. Over time, that lack of clarity starts to show up. It might look like inconsistent execution, missed expectations, or even a lack of trust. When feedback is missing, people don't just assume everything's fine. Instead, they start to fill in the gaps themselves. This leads to uncertainty and second guessing. Ultimately, it leads to disengagement. In order for someone to grow, they need coaching, direction, and course correction along the way. Without reinforcement, even the strong performers can start to lose momentum. Here's the really sad part. The feedback gap has led to nearly half of employees stating they don't believe their manager helps them grow. And this is where the challenge becomes more complex because managers are the ones expected to deliver feedback consistently, but many of them are navigating competing priorities. They're stretched thin, and in many cases, they're not receiving much feedback themselves. So instead of being full, their cups are more than half empty. In fact, only half of middle managers feel supported in their own growth. And so what happens is we end up in a cycle. We expect managers to give feedback and coaching consistently without consistently giving them feedback and coaching. So how do you break the cycle and make meaningful feedback the norm, not the exception? Here are 4 things you can do. Make feedback frequent. Short, in-the-moment conversations tied to real work. Make it specific so people know exactly what to repeat or adjust, and focus on the positives much more than you focus on any adjustments needed. Make it two-way. Make the feedback loop both up and down. And equip managers. Give them clear and specific expectations along with a structure to follow. The best feedback systems aren't complex. The best feedback systems are consistent. So if you want your team to grow, it's time to close the feedback gap. To better understand how feedback and the other drivers of engagement are really showing up across organizations today, check out the full Engage 2026, the Company Culture Report. It breaks down where companies are strong, where they're struggling, and what to do next.
Thanks so much for spending time with us on Culture Over Coffee. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe and join us for every episode. For more helpful information about company culture and employee engagement, visit us at upyourculture.com.